Okay guys, so this is our new unit, DNA and Heredity. Now if you're in class 10.2, you've already done some of this lesson, but not all of it. So I'm going to ask you to kind of fast forward to where the lesson on the structure of DNA, so you can add that to your notes. You didn't get a chance to do it last class. And 10.1, you have to do the whole thing, so you miss all of class because of PSAT. So DNA and Heredity is our new unit. It's 10 classes plus the review day and the test. We will finish before American Thanksgiving and move on to the new unit after that. So today's lesson is about the structure of DNA, something that is very fundamental to this entire unit. It's about genetics and heredity. So if we're going to start off this unit with a phenomenon, and the phenomenon is about sickle cell anemia. Now if you're in 10.2, you've already watched this video, so you can skip this part. If you're in 10.1, then please pause this video and then go watch the YouTube video as a class about sickle cell anemia. Students, while you're watching this video, the phenomenon, please take notes on what you see, because we're coming back to this idea again and again throughout the unit. It's an important one, and figure out what kind of questions you have. Okay, so after you've watched the video, you're going to write down any questions you have about what you saw in the video on post-it notes. And please write only one question per post-it note so we can kind of organize them around different kind of clusters like we did last time. 10.2, you've already done writing down your questions. If you have written, I know somebody wrote 5 questions on one sticky, so please kind of separate those. And what I want you guys to do, once you've taken the time to write your post-its and put them on the driving questions board, think about how we can organize them. And what I want you guys to do is go back to the driving questions board for your class and organize the post-it notes in some logical way, just like we did before with the chemistry unit. We're going to come back to this much more than we did in the chem unit. I know we kind of started it and then didn't go back to it. But in this unit, we're going to bring it together more. So I want you to take some time to organize it, and then when I come back next week on Monday and Tuesday, I'm going to ask you guys to tell me about what your system is. Okay, so be prepared to do that next week. Okay, so this part of the lesson is for everybody because neither 10.1 or 10.2 got to this part of the lesson. So structure of DNA is the topic for today's lesson. So the DNA is described as a double helix. Take a look at the picture and think about why that might be. Well, it's double because there's 2 strands, so it's not a single strand. There's other hereditary molecules that are single-stranded, but DNA is double-stranded, hence the double, and helix because it has a helical shape to it. And what's happening with this main structure of DNA is it has this backbone. You'll see it in blue on this kind of light blue backbone. It looks like ribbons, kind of. That's the sugar phosphate backbone. So it's made of sugars and phosphates, and it holds the entire structure together. It holds the structure together, not today. That's a typo. So the 2 backbones are going to run in opposite directions. They're going to run what is called anti-parallel direction. One goes from 3' to 5'. So take a look at the picture. You see in the top right, it says 3', and on the bottom right, it's 5'. So it goes that direction, and the other side, it goes from 5' to 3'. So they're kind of running parallel to each other, but in opposite pointing directions. We'll talk about more what that means later on in this unit. And then the bases, which in this image are green, red, yellow, and white, they are the message of the DNA. And we have 4 bases, A, T, C, and G. A is adenine. In this image, it's represented by a green bar. T is thymine. In this image, it's a red bar. C is cytosine, which is a blue bar in this image. And G is guanine, a yellow bar. And the sequences of those bases, of those A, T, C's, and G's, makes up all the genes in an organism's genome. And it codes for every single thing in that organism. Take a minute and make sure your notes are complete. You can put a picture of the DNA structure into it, either a computer or draw it in your notebook, and then we'll move on. Okay, so to continue with our analysis of the structure of DNA, if you take a look at this, this is zooming in on the nitrogenous bases, those A, T, C's, and G's. And those bases, if you take a look at them, are attached with hydrogen bonds. The little dotted lines you see going between different parts of the bases, those are hydrogen bonds. So which bases do you notice are paired together? And hopefully what you're seeing is that A and T are always together, and that C and G are always together. And then if you look at those pairs, how many bonds connect each pair of bases? So if we look, we see that adenine and thymine, A and T, always have two hydrogen bonds connecting them, and that cytosine and guanine, the G's and C's, always have three hydrogen bonds connecting them. Okay, notice again we have here the phosphate sugar backbone, and we have that's going 5' to 3' in opposite directions, anti-parallel strands. Okay, so DNA is very, very thin. You can't even see the bases. If you were to look at just a single strand of DNA, you couldn't see it under a microscope. It's much too small for that. But it's very, very long. There's about 3 billion base pairs in your DNA. And if you were to stretch that out, it'd be too thin to see, but about 3 meters long. So it's taller than almost every single person, and much, much, much thinner. It contains tons and tons of information. Okay, so that's the important ideas for the structure today. What I want to get you guys to do to kind of reinforce this is build a model. So there's 6 different kits. We have 2 Connect kits, kind of one on the left, our larger Connect kits. And then we have 4 of these smaller kind of Molly-Mod kits. You can choose to use either one, work with a partner, and build it following the instructions. And I want you to build this because it'll really help kind of reinforce the concepts and the importance of the structure of DNA. Okay, so take your time and add to your notes as you go. Remember, to prove to me you have built this properly, you need to send me a selfie of your completed model. I want to see you in the selfie. You can use your laptop to do this. You don't have to use a camera. You don't need to use your phone, okay? So just email that to me. I'll still have my email working while I'm away, so I can see what you've done. Okay, for your homework, you're going to have to read the article by Watson and Crick about the discovery of DNA structure. I'm posting it on Schoology, and answer the reading questions also posted on Schoology. For students in 10.2, you will be doing this in class today because you didn't get through all the material last class. So they're going to do the structure of DNA notes, and then do the article analysis. It's a short article, but it's dense, so it may take you more than one try to get through it.